In today's session, let us discuss some more concepts. Kinetic energy. Kinetic energy Ke is given by half mv square, where m is the mass and v is the speed. Okay, so this is the first basic formula. It is also given by p square by 2m, where p is the momentum, or half p multiplied by v. Okay, so these three variations are there. You can remember all three. Depending upon the question, you should use the formula. Now, kinetic energy is possessed only by a moving body. A body which is in rest cannot have kinetic energy. Only a moving body can have kinetic energy. It is always positive. Okay, its units are joules, and it is a scalar quantity. That means direction doesn't matter. It is a scalar quantity. Only magnitude we will be talking about. It is always positive because mass is always positive. V square is square of a term, it is positive, so it is always positive. So here one concept: when a bullet is fired from a gun, there is a bullet inside a gun, and when you fire the bullet, the momentum and of bullet and the gun are equal and opposite, as per Newton's third law. Okay, the momentum of bullet and gun are equal and opposite. So in this situation, you can remember this result: kinetic energy of the bullet divided by kinetic energy of the gun is equal to mass of gun divided by mass of bullet. Okay, a body can have kinetic energy without momentum. It is possible, but momentum is never possible without kinetic energy. Okay, a body is moving means because of some kinetic energy it is moving. So kinetic energy it has, then it has momentum. Momentum means mass multiplied by velocity. Okay, but the reverse is not true. Just because a body has momentum, it is not possible without having kinetic energy. No body can have momentum. Okay, so kinetic energy is must for momentum. So some graphs shapes you can remember. If you draw a graph between kinetic energy and momentum, kinetic energy and momentum, it is a parabola. It is a parabola. The shape is like this. Okay, if you plot a graph between momentum P and root over K, it is a straight line passing from the origin. It is a straight line. Suppose you plot a graph between root over K and 1 by P. 1 by P is 1 by momentum. Okay, it is a hyperbola. Usually these three are asked. You can remember the three graph shapes. Okay, what is hyperbola and all that in the bridge course I have discussed. You can just go through that. You will be able to understand. Now let U be a potential function. While discussing the potential energy, I talked about potential function, and R be the position vector. R be the position vector. Let U be the potential function and R be the position vector. Then conservative force F is equal to minus du by dr. Conservative force F is equal to minus du by dr. What is the meaning of that? If potential function is given, you differentiate it with respect to R, you get conservative force. It's a very important concept. Okay, you can remember this. It's a very useful concept. So anytime you see a potential function, you can differentiate it to get the force, conservative force. So the examples of conservative force are gravitational force and elastic force in a stretched string. These are conservative force. These are path independent. Conservative forces means path independent. One more important concept is here work done is stored as potential energy. In conservative forces, work done is stored as potential energy. Coming to non-conservative forces, friction, viscous forces are examples of non-conservative forces. Non-conservative forces means these are path dependent. They depend upon the path. ये path पे depend करता है. Non-conservative force path पे depend करता है. Here important concept is here work done is not stored as potential energy. Here work done is not stored as potential energy. Next, we'll talk about spring force. Spring force F is given by minus kx. Don't forget to put this minus. Spring force F is given by F is equal to minus kx, where k is called spring constant. Its units are Newton per meter. Okay, so the spring is denoted like this. This is the symbol. You might have seen a regular spring. Okay, this is the spring symbol. Okay, now we have discussed that spring force is a conservative force. So potential energy stored in a spring. So whatever work done by the spring is stored as a potential energy in the spring, and it is given by U is equal to half kx square, where x is the displacement. Potential energy in a spring, U is given by U is equal to half kx square. Its units are joules. Okay, any energy or work is joules only. Kinetic energy, any mechanical energy, potential energy, work done is basically joules. Work done and energy, are two sides of the same coin. Whatever work is done by the system is stored as the energy in the system. Okay, depending upon the concept, depending upon the context, we talk about energy or work. Okay, like kinetic energy is it is doing some work. Okay, energy is capacity to do work, and whatever work is stored as energy. Now here, if the block moves from x is equal to x1 to x is equal to x2, that means this is a spring attached to a wall. This is x1. Okay, now the block got expanded up to here, up to x2. Any general position can be given as x. So x is equal to x1 to x is equal to x2. This much distance the block moved. Okay, then work is given by integration of x1 to x2 minus kx dx. And when you expand this, you get work is equal to half into k into x1 square minus x2 square. Alright. Now let us discuss about work energy theorem. It says that work done by all forces acting on a body is equal to change in the kinetic energy. That means work done W is equal to Kf minus Ki. Kf is the final kinetic energy and Ki is the initial kinetic energy. So which is equal to half mv square minus half mu square. V is the final velocity, u is the initial velocity. That means basically if you take the difference of kinetic energy, it says that it is the work done on the object. Okay, force into displacement is one definition. Definition of work, force into displacement is one definition, one formula. This is another formula. Now it is applicable to particle as well as system of particles. You can apply this concept to a single particle or system of particles, group of particles. Work energy theorem can be applied to. In which situation you can apply? You can apply to variable forces. You can apply to constant forces. Okay, constant forces I have not written here. Constant force is another this thing, another type of force. Variable forces, forces which are function of time. Pseudo forces, imaginary forces. I told you you have to apply in reverse so that the problem converts into a static equilibrium problem. So in the case of pseudo forces also you can apply work energy theorem. Conservative forces, path independent forces, you can apply spring force, gravitational force, and non-conservative forces also you can apply this concept. Frictional forces, viscous forces, all those forces you can apply this concept. So in this, using this concept, we can find out the final velocity of the bodies. Some concepts I'm discussing here. Suppose there is an inclined plane is there, some inclined plane is there. The top of the inclined plane is at height h from the ground. Some mass is there and it is sliding down. Okay, it reaches the bottom point B. The top point is A and it reaches the bottom point B, and then they ask you what is the speed at bottom of incline, given that there is no friction in this case. That means between the ball and the surface there will be some friction, no? So this is a no friction case. So here the way we work out is, you know that work is equal to delta K. Delta K means change in kinetic energy. What is work done? The object is at a height h. It will possess potential energy, I told you. So what is the potential energy of this? It is mgh. Okay, it is mgh is equal to kf minus ki. Let us say when it reaches the ground the velocity is v, so half mv square minus, initially the body was at rest, so 0. Body at rest, no kinetic energy. You get here v is equal to root over 2gh. Second concept, let us say in the question friction is present. The inclined length is L and the angle made is theta with the horizontal. In this case, velocity is given by the expression root over 2gl into sine theta minus mu cos theta, where mu is the coefficient of friction. Mu is the coefficient of friction. Suppose you put mu is equal to 0, you will get back to this formula only. See, if you put mu is equal to 0, this will become 2gl sine theta. What is L sine theta? It is h only, no? In this triangle, h divided by L, we are calling this as, let us say, h. H by L is the sine theta, then h will be L sine theta. So from this case, you can derive this case. Okay. So this is the general formula when friction is present. Well, let us see the third concept. Let us say there is a pendulum bob is there. The bob is now straight. You give here u velocity. What will happen? The bob will move in this direction. Okay. At a particular instant of time, let us say when it is making theta with the vertical, the bob is making theta with the vertical because you give some velocity at the mean position, lowermost position. Now what is that velocity? If they ask you, the expression is this: v is equal to root over u square minus 2gl into 1 minus cos theta, where L is the length of the string. These concept 2 and concept 3 can be easily derived also. Anyone interested in the derivation part, you can send me, text me. I will try to personally explain to you. However, the result is useful in exams. So remember concept 2 and concept 3, quite frequently they are asked. Okay. So in the case of friction, you remember the formula. In the case of pendulum bob, you remember this expression. Here u is given, you know the length of the string, you know this angle theta. So when it is making theta with the vertical, you can find the velocity. See, if theta keeps changing, velocity will keep changing. Okay, so these are expressions which have come after derivation. I am sharing the formula so that while solving numericals you can directly put the formula and solve it.